Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's been a few days, so I thought I would give my recollection of what all happened last Saturday, July 13th. So as many of you know, it's international news. President Trump someone tried to assassinate former President Trump. This really hit home for me because not only was I there, I live half a mile away. So I literally live in ground zero for where this happened. I walked to the rally that day. I left about 11:30, 11:45-ish. Gates opened at 1. I think I got to the farm show about 12:30. I stopped at the gas station that I work at and got a bottle of water because it was hot that day. It was about 90 to 95, which is hot for our area. So I'm just gonna tell you what I saw, what I heard, how the day went for me. So, like I said, left my house about 11:30, 11:45, got to the farm show. I was in line, I want to say, at 12:30 to get into the gate. So I probably got to the farm show about 12:15. I mean, I live half a mile away, so it doesn't take too long. I stopped at the gas station, got a bottle of water since it was going to be hot. Even though everywhere I read and everything, they said that they were going to have free water there, which I'm so thankful for because I probably drank 5-6 bottles of water that day. So I got through the gate probably around 1:30, 1:45. I went and kind of scouted an area because my father was going to be joining me, but he didn't get off. He wasn't able to get there until a little later. At 2 o'clock, he texted me. He goes, "Hey, I parked in your driveway. How do I get there?" So I told him the route to take. And I would say he probably got there about 3 o'clock, 3:30. I think he said it took him an hour and a half to get from my driveway to where I was sitting, just inside the gate. Luckily, I had found pretty much the only place in the entire farm show that day that had shade. If you're familiar with the Butler Farm Show, the main gate, just inside the main gate, there's a little pond with a tree. That was literally the only shade at the event. They had like the four-legged canopy tents all over the place, but under those canopy tents, they had pallets of water. So you really couldn't just stand under the canopy to get shade because there was just a ton of water. Which thankfully helped keep it a little cool, but even then the water was still 70, 80 degrees. No one likes drinking 80-degree water if they have a choice. But so my dad got there 3:30, and we sat down, and from where we were sitting, we couldn't see the stage, but they had 2 jumbotrons that they were obviously using. So we could see one of the jumbotrons. So we're like, you want to know what? We're in the shade. We're sitting on the ground. We're in the shade. We can see the jumbotron. This will work. Well, we had a clear line of sight to President Trump's motorcade when they were coming in. Now, he was supposed to start at 5. He did not roll through that gate until 6 o'clock. Now, being that I did 10 years in the military, I have gone to school for Homeland Security, and one of my former jobs was at a 5-star hotel where we had celebrities and high-profile clientele coming in, I know that literally 5 minutes before, plans can change just to switch things up. I've had to deal with that at the hotel that I worked at when we had singers and music groups and celebrities come in, where we literally, it was like, hey, they're gonna go golfing at 3 o'clock, and at 2:45 we're outside their room, and we're like, okay, let's go, we're gonna go down the elevator. Split second, nope, you wanna know what, we're gonna take the fire escape, just because we don't want all the people in the lobby to see them, so we're gonna take the fire escape, take them out the background. So, I mean, I know things change fast and everything like that, so seeing him roll through the gate at 6 o'clock really wasn't alarming to me. I figured something like that happened. You can say something starts there, especially when it's a former president. You kind of want to leave your whereabouts mysterious for security reasons. So, like I said, it wasn't that big of a shock to see him rolling through the gate, 6 o'clock. He was on stage. Once he got on stage, he was on stage for like 7 minutes before shots rang out. In those couple minutes, right as he started to speak, me and my dad got up and we're like, well, let's just go closer. Let's see if we can actually get up and see the stage. So we started walking up towards the actual event and towards where everyone was. Both me and my father forgot to grab cash before we came. So, of course, most events like this are kind of cash only. The company that actually catered my wedding was there, and they were in a building, and I just popped in the building, saw that they had a credit card machine, and I was like, oh, did you guys take cards? They were like, yeah. And I said, okay, well, can I get 2 cans of root beer? And they were $2 a can, which, I mean, hey, capitalism, you got to make a profit. Supply and demand. So I paid $4 for 2 cans of A&W root beer, walked outside, and gave one to my dad just so we had something cold to drink. And that was about 5 minutes into his speech. Came outside, gave my dad the root beer, and we were just standing there, and we were like, you want to, let's try and get a little closer. So we probably took about 40 steps towards the stage when we heard, what I heard was 3 shots. I heard 3 shots, a pause, and then about 5 to 6 more shots after. The first 3 shots rang out. My dad kind of nudged me. I looked at him, and I was like, yeah, those were gunshots. Those weren't fireworks. Those weren't those throwable little poppers. Those were gunshots. Obviously, we still couldn't see the stage, but we had the 2 jumbotrons. I noticed almost immediately that if you're looking at the stage, the right speaker column that was being held up by a boom or a crane, that the speakers were starting to slowly fall, and what looked like water was spraying out everywhere. What I'm assuming happened was one of the rounds from the shooter hit one of the hydraulic lines, and so it was hydraulic fluid that was spraying, and that's why the speaker was slowly falling, because the crane had lost hydraulic fluid. Everyone was in a panic. Everyone was running behind, just running away. Unfortunately, this wasn't the first active shooter that I'd been involved with. So my military mindset just kind of kicked in, and knowing my background with 10 years in the military, studying Homeland Security, I figured that after the little pause and then about the 5 to 6 shots that I heard afterwards, I figured that was Secret Service taking down the shooter. So I figured, okay, threat's over, no need to panic or run. So me and my dad actually started moving forward towards the stage, because we're like, well, we kind of want to get a better view of this, what's all going on. By that time, they probably already had President Trump already in, already in the motorcade, already in his up-armored Suburban, and probably out the gate by the time we started to move forward. Now, I have numerous friends that, I actually have a friend that's in the Secret Service. He was actually there that day. And then I have a bunch of friends that are local and state law enforcement that were there. I haven't reached out to any of them to talk to them about it. Sole reason is because they probably can't, or don't want to, because of the scrutiny and everything that they're all under. I know that the head of the Secret Service is trying to throw my township's police department under the bus because of where it was, and they said that my township is to blame for the whole situation. That's honestly not the case. I work in the community at a gas station. I see these township cops at least one. I probably see every township cop at least 2 to 3 times a week. I talk to them. I almost know most of them by their first name at this point. And I can tell you from what I've heard from them over the last couple of days is they did acknowledge all the people saying there is a shooter on that building. There's someone on that building with a rifle. In fact, the one guy that boosted a township police officer up onto the building, what happened was once they got word that there was a shooter on the building, 2 township police officers went over to the building, and the building was just high enough to where one officer put the other on his shoulders and then boosted him up onto the building, and the officer was basically doing a pull-up. Excuse me. One officer was basically doing a pull-up up onto the building, saw the shooter moved his rifle, pointed it at the officer. Out of self-preservation for the officer literally just dropped. Couldn't get to his gun, couldn't get to his radio because both hands were on the roof. He dropped, falling about 8 feet, injuring himself. At that point, the shooter moved back onto President Trump, and about 15 to 20 seconds later, began firing. So the timeline that they're saying goes along. There was a couple minutes between the first rally goer saying, hey, there's a shooter on the roof. That's about right. It was about 2 minutes. And honestly, there's video now surfacing of a state police cruiser ramming the gate at the farm show because they failed to have an exit strategy in case something like this happened. I find it funny because they had to ram the gate like 3-4 times to get it open. I mean, if it was me, I would have probably just pedaled to the metal, floored it right through the gate. I wouldn't have tried to just ram it a bunch of times. I probably just would have been going at least 60, 70, hit the gate. I don't care about the windshield. I don't care about my cruiser at that point. I just want to get the good guys outside of the event and up onto that roof. But it was, I wouldn't say traumatizing. It definitely was traumatizing, but, I mean, listen, they tried to impeach the guy a bunch of times. He's now he's got all these trumped up charges, no pun intended, and is a convicted felon now. They don't want this man running for office. So we all knew it was only a matter of time until something like this happened. I really hate that it happened literally in my hometown. Literally, I'm at ground zero. I mean, since Saturday, the last 5 days, I have had nothing but news reporters and everyone bombarding me at work because where I work, if I were to walk to the other end of the parking lot where I work, I can literally see the rooftop the shooter was on. That's how close I lived to this whole situation. And there's been news reporters just parked out in our gas station lobby now for 5 days, filming it, because we are probably one of the better vantage points to see the building. I remember Sunday, they had pretty much every road in our neighborhood shut down. Luckily, I have a little electric scooter that I take to work, so I was able to just kind of zip around, didn't really have to worry about all the traffic being backed up. It's been an eye-opening experience, I will say that. I'll upload a video or a picture of approximately where me and my father were standing when everything happened. Now, I want to say I heard the 3 shots and then I heard a pause. What I can assume is that pause was unintentional. I think what happened was he took those first 3 shots, saw Trump go down, and then tried to re-engage once Trump was down to try and finish him off. I'm not aware of when I believe it was the Buffalo Township fire chief that was fatally injured, because took a round, I guess, to the head. I don't know if he got killed in the first 3 rounds or after the pause, those like next couple rounds. I don't know when he got shot, when he got hit, but either way, it's a sad day for my community, and everything. Even this whole area is just in mourning for the loss of life of him, and then the fact that we're now globally known. I used to, when I would introduce myself to people, like when I was on vacation or something, they'd be like, "Oh, where do you live?" I used to say, "Oh, I live about 45 minutes north of Pittsburgh." Most people know where Pittsburgh is. Now, I can proudly say, "Hey, I'm from Butler," and everyone knows where that is now. It's an unfortunate circumstance, but at least now everyone knows where I live. Unfortunately, when I tell people I'm from Butler, they're going to be like, "Oh, so you live over where President Trump tried to get it, or almost got assassinated." And unfortunately, I'm going to have to be like, "Well, actually, I live half a mile from where he is, so I live in ground zero." But it's a sad day. It's a sad time in America that everything is so politically charged, that the left is trying to say that Trump actually staged this, and that he was only trying to make himself seem more invincible than he already was. Being a veteran, owning firearms, the shot was taken sub 200 yards on President Trump. Now, some people go, "Well, that's a decent distance." It's really not. When I was in the Marines in boot camp, we had to take 500-meter shots with no iron sights and have to be able to hit a silhouette target with just iron sights, no scope. So if this shooter, I haven't even seen his rifle. All I know was it was supposedly an AR-15. I'm unaware if it was a 22 or a 223. Have not really looked into it. But let's say it was a 223 or a 5.56. It's basically the same gun. At 200 yards with a scope, that is an easy shot. Now, I will say that day was very windy. So especially if you have not had experience with shooting out in the wind. Like, say, if you were in the military and you got to shoot out to 500 yards, 500 meters. When I was in the National Guard, we shot out to 300 meters. Was our max range that we shot out to. Unless you have experience shooting out to those distances where you know and where you have the knowledge and the know-how to adjust for wind, I don't think this 20-year-old knew how much his round was going to drift because of that wind that day. In fact, about half an hour before Trump got there, at about 5:30, there was I believe it was a state senator or a state representative that was speaking, and he was actually stopped mid-speech by the crowd saying, "Fix the flag, fix the flag," because the flag had actually, and there's numerous photos of this online, the actual flag had actually tangled itself. And from my point of view, I nudged my dad and I go, "Hey Dad, the flag's all tangled up." But in all honesty, it kind of looked like an American eagle with wings outspread. Now, some people said it looked like an angel. So I just find, like, and when you think about the grand scheme of things, whether it looked like an American eagle or a bald eagle, or it looked like an angel, there was probably an angel looking over Trump that day, and it may have come in the form of that flag. I know with the wind and everything, they had to fix the flag 2-3 times. Sorry. And the last time when the crowd stopped the speaker yelling, "Fix the flag, fix the flag," they pretty much had to lower that flag all the way to the ground pretty much to fix it because it was that jacked up. In fact, my dad thought that the flag was actually torn because of the way it looked, and I was like, I don't think so. I think it's just really tangled up. But taking a shot at sub 200 yards without knowing how to adjust for wind and anything like that is a pretty hard thing to do, especially when I believe the gusts were up to like 30 miles an hour. Not your average person's not going to know how to adjust for that, unless you are literally from a military background, or possibly if you live out west, Colorado, Montana, like out west, where when you go hunting, you're taking 200-300 yard shots all day. Around me, if you're taking a 100-yard shot, that's a long shot. Most people take, when they go out hunting, it's sub 100 yards. It's just the way, because we're at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, so everything's all hilly or mountainous, and so you're never really taking a shot from one mountainside to the other. You're literally taking it from 30-40 yards. In fact, this past deer season, I missed a deer at about 40 yards because my wits got to me. But I digress. So I know I'm just rambling at this point, and I'm sorry for that, but I waited a couple days so I could try and speak level-headedly about this, and it may not seem like it, and I'm sorry for that. But as I talked to friends that I knew were at the event, and everything, I've offered to talk with them. I know one of the girls that I see at work all the time, her and her daughter come in all the time. Her daughter was there. I saw her. She was one of the volunteer firefighters that was working that day, and I saw her on the back of a UTV, and I text her mom because we're friends on Facebook. I texted her mom, was like, hey, are you here? Because, like, I'll come find you. We'll hang out. Like, it'll be a fun day. She was not, but I saw her daughter. And as soon as the shots rang out, my dad was right here. So I was like, okay, like, I know he's safe. I immediately grabbed my phone. I messaged her. I was like, hey, is your daughter okay? Because the people that I care about, or the people that I know or have somewhat of a relationship with, those are the ones I care about. Those are the ones that are important. And she was like, yeah, she's locked in a building right. They're all locked in a building right now. And I was like, great, okay, cool. I'm getting out of here. Secret Service started to kind of push us all out. At that point, it had been about minute and a half after the shooting. Secret Service started to push us all out of the farm showgrounds. So, like I said, I'm just rambling at this point. So if anyone has any questions or anything, go ahead and leave me a comment. I'm definitely I'll definitely be in the comment section answering any questions. I kind of am a conspiracy theorist, so let me hear your best conspiracy theories. I love hearing them. I love doing my own research. I don't really listen to the media that much. I try and form my own conclusions by watching all of the news instead of just CNN or just Fox or just MSNBC. I like watching them all and then coming up with my own conclusion on what really happened. Just like the head of Secret Service came out and said, oh, well, that roof on the AGR building was sloped and we don't want to put anyone on a sloped roof. Well, the roof that the counter snipers were on was at a steeper angle than what the AGR building was. So I don't quite get how that makes sense. That's also part of her throwing my local police department under the bus. But it is what it is. Butler, we will recover. We may be known for the rest of the century, the rest of our lives, as the place where Trump almost got assassinated. But we don't have to. We can be known for much more than that. We're known. Butler was the birthplace of the Jeep. Every year, in fact, it just happened about a month and a half ago. We have Bantam Days, which the Bantam was the very first Jeep Wrangler. Is kind of what we're known for, is like being the birthplace of the Jeep Wrangler. And about a month and a half ago, we have this huge celebration. So we're known for much more than the place Trump almost got assassinated. If you drive a Jeep Wrangler, you can thank Butler, because that's essentially where your Jeep originated from. Butler used to be, honestly, a mecca of car manufacturing. There was numerous car plants here in Butler back in like the late 30s and 40s, all the way up until I guess about the 60s, when everything kind of moved out, and everything kind of moved up to like Detroit. But excuse me. So anyway, leave a comment. We'll start a discussion in the comment section. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'll be in there answering all your questions, talking to you guys. I really enjoy conversations with you guys, and words of encouragement for my local community, my township, my town, all of Pennsylvania, really. But I don't even know how to end this, to be honest, because, yeah, it's just a sad day. It's a sad week. I know President Trump announced who he's going to have running for vice president with him and everything. I'm so happy that he didn't die, and for everyone saying that, oh, he should have, maybe he won't miss next time. Like, what kind of a person wishes death upon someone just because they don't agree with them? I probably don't agree with half of you people in the comment section, but I still respect you and don't want any of you to die. I don't want anyone to die. I mean, if I know eventually we're all gonna die, but if we can live forever, I want everyone to live forever. But to wish death upon someone in that magnitude just because of their political beliefs, in my opinion, is just pure hatred. And I hate using that word. Hate is a hateful word. But it's just pure hatred at that point. And everyone that thinks that way needs to get their head examined, to be honest. There's no need for this kind of violence anywhere in America. And I'm just going to leave it with that, to be honest. This past weekend was absolutely horrific, and I'm praying that the firefighter that died, I'm praying his family finds peace, knowing that their husband, their father, their best friend died doing something that he loved, protecting his family, when he dove on top of them in the bleachers. I'm praying for the health of the other two victims, well, the other three, technically, President Trump, and then there were also two more people that were in the stands that were injured. I believe one got shot in the forearm, one got shot in the hand. Last I heard, they went from critical to stable condition. So I'm praying for the fast healing and the health of those two individuals in the stands. And then I am praying for President Trump, that he has a speedy recovery and that he will find the recovery and get back up on his A game, and to not let this event bring him down or bring America down for that. So, I'm not even going to tell you guys to like, subscribe, or anything. This isn't that kind of video. So just leave me a comment down in the comment section. Let's get a good conversation going about this whole thing.